Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Berlin. Happy to see you here in this room. My name is Ayhan. I am from Kneat IT Solutions, and today with me we have Brian from Elevatebio, and we would like to speak about Elevatebio's Bio's journey about Kneat. But before I start, maybe I see here a lot of faces. Probably some of you guys are not very familiar with Kneat. So my question to you, how many people here in this room are familiar? Just to give me a sign. Just one? Two? Okay. I see 90% potential opportunities. Fantastic. Just really briefly in 2 sentences, what Kneat does. Kneat is a software company, it's an Irish company, and our mission is to develop, design software for the pharma and life science industry. Our mission is to enable regulated companies that they can digitize validation and qualification processes. And today, 8 of the top 10 companies globally are already using our solution. One example, Merck, they are having 12,000 employees and they're using our solution globally. And today we would like to speak about the case study with Elevatebio. And now I would like to hand over to Brian, and he will give us short, brief hands up about his journey.
Yep. So I never really introduced myself fully when I kicked this whole thing off. I am the director of computer validation. I've been doing it for the entirety of my career. I accidentally fell into computer validation 30 years ago, and in my humble opinion, it is by far the greatest discipline in our industry. In those 30 years, I've had the opportunity to work directly with, in, or about just about every single software application that we use. If I've not used it, I know a similar solution that does the same thing, and so I'm able to use that knowledge to really try to advance things. I could talk about this topic for like days. Again, I've done it for a long, long time. I love it. It is what I really love doing. I only have a couple of slides, but if you have questions, please just shout them at me. I am going to talk a little bit about Elevatebio. This will also sort of inform maybe a little bit of my skepticism on AI. Elevatebio as a company was founded in 2017. I joined the company in 2020. I was around the 100th or so person. We grew incredibly rapidly through 2022. By the end of 2022 into 23, we were probably around 400 full-time people. And then, like I talked about when I opened this, the wheels sort of came off the biotech industry in the U.S. And I would say now, today, we're back around, probably around 350 or so full-time people, and that includes a gene editing site in North Carolina that's got around 50 or so full-time. We do a lot of stuff. When I joined, we were really, there were three legs of the stool. We were going to develop our own stuff, we were going to partner with people, and we were going to just manufacture stuff for you. We've shifted over those years, and now we are really more just we'll manufacture for you, but we do have all these capabilities. So if you have an idea for a great thing and you just need some help scaling it up or whatever, we're able to do that for you. This is a useful picture to show like what we have, and it really also helps to inform why we did what we did in the validation space. The irony is when I joined the company, they told me we are paperless. We are a digital first company. We are out of the box digital, and we were when I joined. We had an ERP system, we had an MES system, we had a historian, we had a BMS, a DC, we had it all. If there's an acronym, we have it. Today, we have 4 LIMS systems. We have 2 MES systems and a partridge in a pear tree. But for a digital first company, I can arguably say that we produce more paper than I did in 8 years at Sanofi. And again, a lot of that is for all the wonderful stuff you see up here, our most functional interface is a human interface. Our middleware is 95% human. We've got very few integrations. And that is, unfortunately, a result of, like, the majority of the work that we do. Where's my shop floor stuff? I don't even have it up here. Top left. Oh yeah. So thanks, Isabel. All the super cool stuff that does all the super cool science that I don't understand because it's been 30 years since I took biology, is really, really hot garbage for data access, data exchange. It's really brutal. And so hence we have that human middleware. All of that said, and this is really like the last big slide, or the last slide that I have, and I'll talk about all these different things. So, I'm not sure, I think everybody can remember back in 2020, some stuff happened, and the world basically shut down. Elevatebio, at that point, was in the midst of a build-out. When I joined the company, the facility that we're at now, the walls were there, but they weren't there because we had built them. They were there because we had taken over a post office, like a massive distribution center, right? So lots of walls on the outside, some walls on the inside, no gowning, no nothing. In the first 6 months I was there, I was on site 3 times. I was there the day that I started. I was there about a month later to just to check in, and then like a month after that to grab an extra monitor to work from home. But you can imagine in that time, you're doing a startup, and I was fortunate that the big systems had been stood up, right? Our SAP system had been stood up and released. Our Viva QMS had been stood up and released. And those were all really supported by external folks. But the bolus of the work that was going to happen over the next year and a half was going to be the actual facility startup, right? And so that's all of these, 100 plus benchtop pieces of equipment that are going to do all this super cool manufacturing, or the facility itself and all kinds of equipment or facility validation that I don't really know about, and frankly, I don't really care about. But I know it's super important because you got to qualify the system. And so Kneat for us was a necessity. And I'll broaden that to say e-validation for us was a necessity. It wasn't an option. And honestly, I don't know how, if you were a company that was in the same state as us starting or in that startup mode in 2020, 2021, I don't see how you could do things on paper because you couldn't interact with people. You couldn't pass a document around from hand to hand in serial and get signatures. You just couldn't. You can't disinfect all that stuff, right? And so the availability of the e-validation tool was critical to our ability to actually get our facility started. The benefits, one of the benefits for us of the Kneat solution is the cloud-based solution, right? We don't have a ton of space. And when I think back to my time at Sanofi, there was a room this size, maybe even bigger, was our data center for our Framingham manufacturing facility, right? Just a massive room of stuff. Like the data center that we have in Waltham for Elevatebio is, I don't know, maybe from like that wall to where I'm standing now, and I could walk around it in 15 steps, right? So I don't have to pay anybody to maintain this stuff. From that perspective, it reduces our full-time footprint. It's one of the reasons we're able to maintain a really low headcount. The ability for us to or one of the positive features of the solution again is it's a really, for me anyways, intuitive system. It's not Microsoft Word, but it's like Microsoft Word. It can handle things like tables. It can import stuff from Word. It can import and give you the self-starters if you've been working on something. So for us, there was a transition period, right? We stood the system up around July, August of 2020, and by, I would say, the end of January of 2021, we had completely transitioned away from any of the paper materials. And by that point, everything was electronic. So there was like a hard line we drew in the stand that said, after this date, if you're starting something, it's got to be in Kneat. If you're starting it in between this period, if it's already approved, great. If it's only pre-approved, congratulations, you've just won yourself what we call the wrapper. You're going to put that thing into Kneat. You're going to print it, you're going to execute it, and scan it back into Kneat. And then there are the others that were, if you were already in process of execution, just finish the execution, scan the whole thing, again, into Kneat. So I've touched a little bit on the remote work. The live collaboration piece is, I think, one of the, and I don't think that Kneat is unique in this case. From the e-validation, it's just like, in this sense, most of the document management systems out there. Right, there's no more, like I give you a document and I wait for your comments and then you give it back to me and I give him the document and I wait for your comments, and like 5, 10, 15 weeks, days, however many go by, and you ultimately get some comments and it comes back to me. And so I do take a little bit of umbrage at the fact that people say validation is the most expensive thing. It is. Or it was, and I'm going to say, I'd like to say that it was, because of that Fakakta serial signatory thing, and the quality has to sign last, which isn't a rule, by the way. That's just a thing that people have adopted. Like, if anybody tells you like that's a regulation, then they're lying, because it's not. Quality has to sign. They don't have to sign last. That's one of those like awesome artificial handcuffs that we like to put on ourselves in our industry. It drives me crazy, but it is what it is. So anyways, you get the ability to send these documents out for mass reviews, and so you're really gaining tons of efficiencies. The question that's asked to me a lot when we say, oh, we need more licenses for this or we need to do that, and they're like, well, what's the return on investment, right? And it's hard to quantify because we don't track metrics. We didn't track metrics on how long it took him to review something on paper and how long it takes him to review something on paper. So I don't have all this historical data to say, yeah, I mean, I can ballpark. It used to take like 3 to 4 weeks to get a document reviewed on paper. Now we can crank things out in a day or two, right? I can ballpark that. I also can't put a price on like what's an observation? What's an observation cost to you? I mean, I can, like there's enough data to say if you get a 483, this is what it's going to cost. The ultimate goal for me is like, you don't even know I exist. It's the same that we say, our internal IT/OT motto is like, if you don't know about us, then our job is going well, right? If we're getting 483s for computer validation or other validation, that's on me. Tools like this allow me to support the faster, better, further, all that good stuff. And I think that's enough for that. I'll pause.
There's room for questions.
I'll leave some room for questions. Again, I really could talk about this stuff until like tomorrow if you guys wanted me to. What's good, what's bad, what's different.
Yeah, Thank you, Brian. Is there any questions from the audience? I do have 2 questions which I wrote down, but anybody? No? Okay. Brian, look, interesting presentation with some insights. How does e-validation help or hurt the regulated interactions?
Yep. So this is another. So there's really 2 elements to this question. One is I sort of touched on like the idea of the 483. So Elevatebio has been we're a CDMO and we support clinical manufacturing, right? So we don't have any commercial products yet. We have not been inspected by a regulatory agency. That said, we have been inspected by every single partner that we have. As my own internal department has been audited, yearly since I've been there. We've had, we've contracted with outside firms to come and audit us. We've had QPs audit us. None of those audits, I would estimate in the 5 years I've been there, I've supported 20 audits. We'll just use that as a round number. We have never spent more than 2 days on an audit. The chance that I could pull that off at my prior employer is 0. For the simple fact that when they say, hey, show me the validation of your batch records that you released in 2014. Okay, well, I got to call up Iron Mountain. First of all, I got to look through my own stuff and figure out like which box from Iron Mountain I'm actually going to ask for. I got to ask for it. They got to find it. They got to ship it to me. Best case scenario, if I hit it on the head the first time, they're able to find it quickly. I get that back in a day or 2. Then I got to sort through it, however many pages. And so the idea of being able to quickly and efficiently manage through these audits, it just doesn't exist. The e-validation tools, Kneat, right? Somebody asks for something, I call it up in seconds. I mean, there's kind of a double-edged sword to that. And my quality partners are, I'm really good at what I do, but I'm also like really transparent. And so my quality partners sort of cringe when I'm in there because somebody will be like, hey, can you pull this up? Yep, absolutely. And I pull stuff up because I can. And so I skip all that like quality pre-checks that people want you to do to make sure there's nothing bad in there and you're not going to expose skeletons. But I can do that because I have an e-validation tool that lets me just quickly say, oh, you want to see the batch record for Fred's thing? Here it is.
Thanks. That sounds interesting. I see that you could speak maybe 1 hour about this topic. Maybe one last question, because AI is everybody speaking. What about AI? What is your personal view on this one?
Yep. So there are, and this is where I said I'm a skeptic. This is one space that I think that there's tons of opportunity. I really do. I think that the ability to regenerate or generate test scripts to do quality pre-reads on something, and simple examples like if the test script execution, it says attach a screenshot and the screenshot's not there. I mean, either I have to catch that on my review or my quality partner has to catch it and we send it back. And even if it's like silly 5-minute delay, it's silly. Like if there's a way to quickly check for things, great. And the other one that I'm a little bit more keen on because it's not me is the idea that you can pre-evaluate some of the releases from our SaaS providers, right? We happen to use Veeva as our QMS. They pump out 3 releases a year, whether you want it or not. You don't have the option to take it or not. Here it comes, right? They do a pretty good job of saying like, here's what's coming. These are the things that we have that you guys have. You might care about, you might not. There's a lot of manual work on my side to evaluate that. The ability to have something else, artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it, a tool, go out there and say, yeah, Brian, you're good. Like, none of this stuff is in your system. Don't worry about it. Would be great. So,
Thank you very much.
good?
Thank you. That's it from us. I see our marketing lady on the right hand. You know, if you could generate a little bit of interest of you, you know, we have here a Bose on the left side, Bose number 77. You know, everybody is welcomed, and yeah, hope to see you again. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.